today's world, everybody uses the app, right? You're using your mobile more and more. There are a lot of apps on the mobile. If I give you a simple example, the electricians who are actually our end customers, okay, everybody has a smartphone these days. So what we found that whenever there were customer complaints, just to give you a small example, we found that the complaints were not because of what we produced, it's because of the way that product is being laid. We make wires and cables, so they need to be laid. The laying was not done properly, on account of which there was a lot of damage. So the customer feeling was that it is done at your end, not at our end. So what we started doing is we started creating an app-based training program for the people, where the electricians are called together and they are being taught as to how the laying happens, plus at any point of time you can go through your app and learn it. So I would say today the culture is more of, as you say, the digital culture, as we call it as, is using more and more of technology, like your mobile, like your computers, and many of these new gadgets that you need to use. That is very critical for us, and there is a need or a force into that, because most of these things are getting digital, right? Even if you say, let's say typically if there's anything that we need to do or anything that we need to teach, it is going digital. So there is per force, everybody needs to learn today. Everybody needs to understand. If I put a simple kiosk, for example, let's say a worker, if I put a simple kiosk, he needs to go to the kiosk and he needs to know how to use it. So he sees how actually things are being made on that. So that's a kind of change that you see today in the workforce itself. Plus they have their own children who are well read and who understand technology, so they learn from them too. So that's a big advantage we have. So we believe strongly, as we have a very strong culture. That's why as an organization we have been growing almost at the rate of 15, a CAGR of almost 15 to 20% every year. Okay. So the culture is what we strongly believe, and it's a very knit, strong culture. Yeah, traditional in nature, but that's slowly changing, because they realize that if we need to grow, it's become more competitive these days. And as you said, technology is being used more and more. The way you use technology is changing, and people need to update themselves more and more. Let's say a person who's about 55, 60-year-old in the organization today, who's almost at the verge of retiring, he's also using technology which is more modern. So they also know how to use it. So culturally, I would say there's a lot of exchange of ideas through also in the app, or a virtual private network that you create, and you put a lot of information onto that, and those information gets captured on your mobile or gets captured on the gadget that you use, and then you're going to learn through that. So we are doing a lot of work on that area. As I said, we are a learning organization. So one of the pillars of building a strong culture is to create learning across various levels within the organization, right? As I said, being a large organization, we have multiple people across various levels who are actually being developed to develop people further down, right? So that is something which they have, that is something which we have inculcated in people. Okay, the change comes when you actually give a lot of information, when you communicate with people, saying what's happening in the outside world, where are we when compared to our competitors, where is it that we are doing good, where is it that we are not doing so good, what is it that we need to do to improve, or not only catch up. We are still the leaders, we still remain the leaders, but when you say you are the leader, there are some areas you are still not the leader. There are others who are better than you, so they're catching up on you. You project those areas. They understand that if you did not do this, there could be certain loss of business too. So we need to create and build the communication platform which you have done, and they understand, because somewhere we also lost a bit of market share, and we realized that we overcame it and we pushed ourselves forward. So they understand that if we did not adapt ourselves to the new age way of working, or responding. See, the earlier era was the response time to whatever information you want used to take a long time. But today the response time is actually no response time. You just press a button and you get the information. So that's a kind of this thing they understand. So it is building down the line right from top consciously across the organization, creating work groups, telling the work groups, like, we had this information shared across with people. Everybody knows the app. They use the app as well as their mobile phones. They go through it. They read it during their leisure time. They understand their difference. They ask you questions. So slowly the changes happen that way. So this is the kind of process that we created, and we have a strong, there are people who come up and say, I don't understand this. Can you help me in understanding it better? So we go through a process of telling him how that needs to be done or how he needs to understand simple things, and then you realize that they kind of go and share with others. So you need to be constantly sharing and communicating with people. That's very critical when you look at building a strong culture within the organization, or you want to bring about a change in the culture or in the way of working. I think we have a very strong culture. We don't need to change the culture. I think we need to just modify it and use modern ways of sustaining a very strong culture that we already have.